Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online series 10 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used the team that finished second in the previous rank season, built around Kyogre, featuring some fun sets like Life Orb Tsareena and AV Landorus-I, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. Before we get started, today's episode is sponsored by Into the AM. You've seen me wear their clothes on the channel before. They're an apparel company that makes all kinds of different clothing, ranging from t-shirts to graphic tees, and I'm actually currently wearing one right now. It's actually a similar version to the one that you see on the screen at the moment. So you can go to intotheam.com/cybervgc10 and use the code cybervgc10 for 10% off your next order, or just click on that link and you'll immediately have a 10% discount applied. They always have some really nice bundle deals going on as well, including 3 graphic tees for $55 and a bundle deal with basic tees as well. So check them out in the description below. I've linked my favorite products from them down there as well, and thanks to them for their continued support on the channel. Alright, first game of the day, and this is a really cool team. Mienshao, Zygarde, Alolan, Ninetales, Tsareena, Landorus, and Rielleki. Okay. So immediate impression is that our Tsarena's very good offensively here. Triple Axle can actually one-shot Landos, Tsareena, Zygarde, and Rielleki. I guess I shouldn't say one-shot because it relies on hitting multiple times, but all of that's really valuable for us. I could even lead Tsareena Tornadus here because it prevents the fake out immediately, which is good. So I definitely want both of those. I definitely want Kyogre. And then honestly, Thundurus-T is really fun here, especially because if they bring the Ninetales, we can actually Weather Ball the Zygarde using their Hail. That's pretty fun. I think Ice in general is just really good for us here, so yeah, but this is a really cool team for my opponent. Alolan Ninetales is definitely underplayed in the format, and there's a Kyurem-W team that I wanted to feature with it sometime before Series 10 ends, so yeah. Thanks so much as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks to Into the AM once again for sponsoring today's video. And no official question of the day, but as you may have seen, the next rule set basically was released, so I'm curious what you think about it. We're just going back to one restricted with Dynamax allowed. So personally for me, I don't know, like that's not the direction I was expecting them to take, so I'm not sure I'm like super pleased with it, but curious on your thoughts in the comment section below. They're going to go with the Rielleki and Mienshao here, which I'm fine with. We're Wakandberry. You also can't fake out turn 1 because of Queenly Majesty, which is fantastic. So I've got Kyogre and Thundurus-T in the back. Ideally want to KO Mienshao, and I think if Triple Axle hits all 3 times with Life Orb, we do KO it. So turn 1, I'm just going to Tailwind Triple Axle here. Because the Tsareena is quite nice, and like the thing that this team does well is that it walls like Rillaboom and Rielleki pretty well, right? So they're just gonna Volt Switch, which is fine. So that's where our Berry comes up huge. I guess there's a slight argument to make to not Tailwind turn 1. Like I could have gone for Icy Wind instead, which would have essentially accomplished the same thing. It actually would have even gotten a free damage into whatever would Volt Switch in, and broken a Focus Sash. I could have gone Icy Wind, Grassy Glide turn 1 actually. Bringing out Ninetales is interesting because normally that would break a Focus Sash. So I'm curious if Mienshao or Rielleki are stashed on this team. That's one of my other questions. Alright, this is the stressful part. Triple Axle hits once, hits twice, show me a third one. Okay, perfect. This reminds me a lot of Santee's Life Orb Weavile, right? It's super similar in that regard where you can just pick up one-hit KOs if Triple Axle hits. The only scary thing is that Weavile obviously gets the same type of attack bonus, and so as a result, you can rely on putting the Wide Lens on it, whereas with Tsareena, we don't have that increased damage output, so you kind of need the Life Orb to make up for it. And bring out Zygarde. Okay, yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic position for us to be in right now. If I'm my opponent, I am personally protecting Zygarde and going for Blizzard with Ninetales. That play makes a fair amount of sense. I then can get around that by going for U-turn on... They also could, like, have Light Light here and set up Auroraville, but that's fine. I think Tornadus out into Kyogre and then U-turning here is always fine because it resets the weather, and now my opponent has no switch-ins into a Water Spout at all. I wanted to eliminate Mienshao turn 1 because it gets access to Wide Guard, right? Like, that's just a pretty big issue for Kyogre in terms of spamming Water Spouts. So let's see if Zygarde protects here. Yep, nice. It honestly might have been fine to just Triple Axle that slot, say, okay, even if you protect, well, at worst you knock out Tsareena, but then I get Kyogre in for free. U-turn actually does pretty good damage there as well, so that's nice. Honestly, the main thing that I'm nervous about right now is getting frozen. They have a Rielleki in the back, And Tornadus actually, like, Thunderous hard wins against Regieleki, so I'm actually going to bring out Tornadus right now because I have Icy Wind with this thing. So now I'm in a position this next turn to just click Icy Wind and Water Spout. Even if Blizzard, okay, they actually do go for Aurora Veil, but yeah, it fails because there's no Hail up. So that leaves me free to just Icy Wind and Water Spout now. I think they had to Blizzard there, but even if you Blizzard, honestly, yeah, even if you freeze Kyogre, Kyogre can just Scald to thaw out. So yeah, that is just a really tough matchup for Zygarde, honestly, because we have 3 Ice-type attacks, and Icy Wind, Tornadus, Ice Beam, Kyogre, and the Triple Axle on Tsareena, and the game started off really, really well for us. So I think that's one thing that I didn't do a lot of yesterday, which is, like, utilize Tsareena. And Tornadus Tsareena is actually an incredibly effective lead, especially because this Tsareena is more offensive than the normal ones that your opponents might be used to running into. So as a result, you're able to actually pick up one-hit KOs on turn 1 that your opponents otherwise wouldn't expect, and that can go a really, really long way. So yeah, that was a very fast first game as we go up against a pretty high-ranked opponent for the second one here. That's a Riolu. That's awesome. As well as Zacian. So with Riolu, typically you expect feint coaching. Copycat. Okay. Copycat's something I like. Just am a little bit nervous to play into. Things to also respect: Wide Guard on Pelipper, Tailwind on Pelipper. Kyogre's obviously going to be very good here. We need Tsareena because otherwise Rillaboom is way too much of an issue. And like Game 3 yesterday, we need to ideally knock out Rillaboom before bringing out Kyogre. Honestly, Tornadus. I think Tornadus Tsareena actually might work here again. Yeah, it's not bad, actually. Tornadus Tsareena, Kyogre, Incin. Because what I can do is just Tailwind U-turn out if you lead with Zacian. Yeah, we hit enough speed, tough speed, everything. I don't love Urshifu into a Zacian matchup in general, and Thundurus-T is, like, it's okay here. But the issue with Thundurus-T is that so many Zacians carry Play Rough nowadays, and it just gets one-shot by Play Rough, right? So it just doesn't, like, the ability to get one-shot while not doing much damage in return with Thundurus is just really not a great trade-off for us, right? So, like, Incineroar for Intimidate is just naturally valuable for us. Okay, they're gonna go Riolu plus Zacian. Huh. Interesting. Coaching coming out, definitely a possibility right now. This is tricky. This is definitely tricky. I think I need a Tailwind. And I'll just U-turn on a Zacian for chip. Oh, wait, but Riolu could Copycat here, right? Alright, they just go for coaching. I mean, here's the issue, right? Like, do I bring in Kyogre right now? Who does Zacian target, right? I don't think I can risk bringing in Kyogre and having it feint to a Play Rough. So I think I'm actually forced to bring out the Incineroar, as painful as that is. Yeah. Ideally, they knock out Tornadus, give me a free switch in into Kyogre on the other slot, and then we're just free to spam Water Spout. But I think there's a pretty good chance it's Incin getting targeted in this position. Okay, they do go for Behemoth Blade. I'm hoping it's Tornadus fainting here, honestly. Yeah, they do target Incin. So, I mean, I could have brought in Kyogre there, but we'd take a fair amount of damage that I don't love. Do we outspeed Zacian? I don't think so. No. This is min speed. Yeah, we definitely don't. Okay. I mean, the priority is to get Kyogre out to just click one Water Spout, because that will just one-shot Zacian, right? Like, I'm down a Hurricane Riolu here and just fake out into Zacian, I think. It's just, we might miss Hurricane. Which I don't love. They switch Riolu out, okay. Into Landorus, which I'm actually very okay with, because I can just Icy Wind you now this next turn. So if we hit this Hurricane, I actually think we're in great shape. Alright, connects, nice. It's huge damage. Zacian flinches. Great. So now I can just Icy Wind. You have a defense boost. Like, the question is it worth it to Flare Blitz here? Because it probably doesn't KO Zacian with the defense boost, right? I could also make a really interesting play to get another Tailwind up. Like, ideally, I want to set up Tailwind again in this game. If I'm my opponent, I'm protecting Landorus right now and going for Behemoth Blade onto Tornadus. I'm just going for Icy Wind Flare Blitz. Oh, actually, I guess that works because we get the speed drop on his Zacian, and they don't protect, yeah. My main fear there was reading way too hard into a protect on Landorus, and then just, like, switching Tornadus out, and then they just Earth Power instant, and then get a knockout onto the Tornadus slot. Like, that would be really bad. So they actually give us a free knockout, which is really nice. Oh, we actually do outspeed now after the Tailwind and the speed drop. Okay, that's cool. That's really nice, actually, because another Flare Blitz will KO that Zacian. That's huge. And they just go for Behemoth Blade again, which is fine. Now, I could have Parting Shotted, which actually would have maybe allowed me to survive, but that's fine. Tornado should faint now. Oh, doesn't even KO. At +1. I mean, this Tornadus has a ton of bulk, right? Like, it actually doesn't have very much speed investment, but that's huge. Because this very likely means we can get another Tailwind up in this game now. And they bring out Rillaboom, okay? That's great. No problem with me there. I still have to be careful, though, because Rillaboom just is obviously such a good answer into Kyogre. So we hit 116 speed with Incin right now. It's the last turn of Tailwind. Flare Blitz will KO Zacian. Like, I lean towards just switching in Tsareena here and Flare Blitzing into Zacian, honestly. I think Zacian probably protects, but that's fine. You just end up forfeiting. Okay. I feel like we've had some premature forfeits there. That game was still definitely winnable, but yeah, like, Riolu is pretty interesting, right? But it's relatively straightforward in what it's going to do. It's going to be coaching, it's going to be copycat, it's going to be feint. So the defense boost was scary. That game was interesting because the Kyogre never ended up coming out, right? And what I was thinking is that it boils down to getting Kyogre out in the right position so then I can just click the Water Spout, and a single Water Spout into Zacian is super good for us there. But it didn't come down to that spot. We were obviously in a very good position, but I think it was potentially still winnable for them. Although the play I was going for, the Tsareena and the Flare Blitz play there, I think covers for everything they could do, basically. Because you can't knock out my Incin unless you have not Earth Power, the High Horsepower. So, I'm not sure. But, yeah, these games have definitely gone pretty well. Faster than I've expected to. And once again, there's nothing wrong with forfeiting, right? Even, like, I'm of the belief, like, I always try to play out a game 100%, but maybe sometimes, like, you just think the game is definitely over, or you just don't want to bother with it anymore because you know that it would take so much to pull off a comeback. And sometimes you just want to save time and, like, get on to the next battle. Actually, like, I've had times before where that's been the case, where it's like the win con is so small that yeah, I'll just move on. So I wouldn't say always, but yeah. Okay, it's gonna be a Kyogre team for this one. Bronzong Porygon, that's pretty cool. Tsarena's been really impressive. Sorry, the Urshifu here is also interesting. I don't know who to drop here. I think we don't bring Incineroar, but, like, do I really not bring Thundurus? No, I have to, right? I just want all five of all five of the top 5 Pokemon here. I also got so bright in my room. So I'm just nervous about them going the Trick Room route, but I think we can get away with Tornadus, Tsareena, Kyogre, and Thundurus. It just, like, doesn't feel right to not bring Urshifu into a matchup where it hits Porygon and Bronzong for super effective, but Kyogre does meaningful damage to both there. I think I probably needed to bring Urshifu here, but I'm not sure. I'm going to close the blinds real quick because it got really bright. Okay. Yeah, so, like, the main thing here is, do they go the Trick Room route? I feel like it's actually probably the right way for them to play, especially because we have Tailwind. Let's Rillaboom in P2. It's actually not a bad lead for us, because yeah, actually this is great. It's actually just a free triple axle into Rillaboom taunted to Porygon. That's actually very ideal. Okay. So, yeah, I think we just go for that. I mean, they'll probably Ice Beam, but that's fine. I think we can survive with either. Yeah, and this is where having Life Orb on Tsareena is really nice as well. If I'm my opponent, I'm probably switching out Rillaboom. Okay, so before I rush my moves, I could U-turn here. U-turning is not a bad idea, because then I would get Kyogre in for free, but... I mean, what do you do if you're with my opponent's Rillaboom here? I think you definitely switch out, right? Okay. I'm going to read it till the switch here. As tempting as Triple Axle is, I think there's no way you give up Rillaboom on turn 1. So ideally we see a hard switch, but I could see them U-turning as well. Worst case is they actually stay in and then, like, just click Woodhammer onto the Tsareena slot. That would be a disaster. But, okay, so they do stay in. What are the odds they clicked Woodhammer into Tsareena is the question this turn. That's a crit, right? Okay, I was going to say. That is obviously a really lucky crit, but I didn't even think we had a chance of one-shotting even with the crit. What? Why from Tsareena? This Pokemon is wild. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that obviously puts us in such a game-winning position already, regardless of what Porygon does this turn. Because we just eliminated the biggest threat to Kyogre. They still have an Alecki, so I have to be careful about that. But this is why this team has, you know, the Tsareena as well as the Landorus-I. It just helps out against a lot of Kyogre's biggest threats. Shadow Ball, okay, wow. Shadow Ball, that's interesting. Why not? So, if you have Shadow Ball, then I'd like to think, like, you don't have Tri-Attack. Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Recover, Trick Room as a moveset makes a lot of sense to me here. They bring out their Kyogre, which is fine. I've got Tsareena with Grassy Glide now, and they kindly set up the Grassy terrain for us, which is also very, very good. So with that, I honestly am willing to just go for a Hurricane onto the Porygon and Water Spout here. Like, that turn one crit is such a big deal, because it just eliminated by far the biggest threat to my Rillaboom. Also, my camera saturation is freaking out a little bit right now because I closed the blinds. So I'll try to fix that after this game. They don't protect Kyogre, which is fine. Okay, we don't KO Porygon, but that's also okay. They just go for Scald, that's fine. Oh my god, this lighting's actually really annoying me. I just gotta turn off the auto saturation, I think. Yeah, they just go for Scald, that's fine. Okay. Nope, that didn't do it. It just made things look worse. Maybe I'll just open up the blind slightly. Yeah, it's just so hard to see how my opponent can come back from this. Burn is obviously a little unfortunate, but, like, it doesn't really matter, I think. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, though, right? Because it could still be potentially possible to lose this game. I should Tailwind to be safe here. I think Tailwind and Scald into Porygon is always fine. Actually, hold on. Let's assume that Bronzong is my opponent's last Pokemon. I actually don't have good damage into that. I think it's fine to just Hurricane and Scald in this position, actually. Yeah, I don't want a Tailwind. Let's see what they go for. A switch. But Incin's their last one. Okay, if Incin's their last one, then it's looking kind of bleak for them, I would say, but still potentially winnable. The main thing is now I get a free switch in into Thundurus if you knock out Kyogre. And with Thundurus out, I can just go for a Thunder and switch in Tsareena. I think Bronzong needed to be their last Pokemon for them to have a shot here. Okay, so there's Hurricane. They actually go for Water Spout. Does that even KO Kyogre here? It does not, but I think we faint from Burn. Oh, actually no, because Grassy Terrain goes off first. That's actually a game changer here. Yeah, that should secure the victory up for us, I think. This is where Tsareena is so nice. Like, I didn't really utilize Tsareena very much yesterday, but it is just so standout for us here today. Because now what I can do is just switch this in and go for Scald onto Incineroar. So it's a guaranteed knockout either onto Incineroar or the Porygon switch in should they switch that out. Or should they switch Incin out for Porygon. Yeah. And we still have a Tsareena, by the way, to deal with their Kyogre, right? The only downside is like Grassy Terrain slowly expiring. So if you're my opponent here, I think you actually need to switch the Incineroar out and just sacrifice the Porygon. So let's see if they identified that play. But even if they do, I still have this late game Thundurus to play too, right? And if you don't get Trick Room up, like, you know, in a matchup where we're running the same restricted, it's really about who often can attack first between these two restricteds. Kyogre hanging on last turn was really nice for us. And okay, nice. They do correctly identify the right play and switching out there, so kudos to them there. But it's still fine, I think. Because we'll knock out Porygon. You only get one Fake Out left with Incineroar at this point in the game. And Kyogre can't pick up a double KO in this position, which is also very good. So my Porygon faints. And they actually just Water Spout, which is fine. And the beautiful thing now is that you can't click Fake Out this next turn, right? So I just bring Landorus-I in, and I can just Thunder into the Kyogre slot. We're actually also just faster with Kyogre, so even after Grassy Terrain, Grassy Glide might just be enough for a KO. The only slightly scary thing to worry about right now is the... Oh, we have Weather Ball, actually. Wait, Weather Ball is so cool here. Yeah, because the one thing I just wanted to confirm is the number of turns of Rain we have left. Because what we can do is just Weather Ball the Incineroar and then Grassy Glide Kyogre, or even U-turn the Incineroar. I wonder if Weather Ball and Rain KOs for this range. Because Thunder should be very safe into Kyogre, but I have to respect Scald, Crit, or Ice Beam Freeze. It is the last turn of Rain and last turn of Grassy Terrain. Okay. Yeah, honestly, here I'm down to Weather Ball and U-turn into the Incineroar slot. I just think with Kyogre, like, how could you not protect? It's the last turn of Grassy Terrain, right? But maybe they don't. But the thing is, even if they don't, I will just have a Life Orb Tsareena to click Grassy Glide later on in the game. And they actually don't. Okay, so kudos to them. That is the right play to make. Weather Ball there. Oh, actually just one-shots. Good job, Thunderous Teens. Today's episode is fun because I feel like we get to show off a lot of the fun tricks about this team, like utilizing Tsareena to its max and also showing off Weather Ball and Thunderous. So, Tsareena was... I didn't recognize just how important it was offensively to this team, but it really, really holds it together. Like, I'm quite impressed. But the main thing is just denying any priority attacks at any given point. Like, that's just so nice. Yeah, so they ended up Scalding there, and we would survive here anyway. But I was thinking, if Incense Berry there survives Weather Ball, and then U-turn doesn't KO, could get a little bit scary. But then I have Tsareena just back in next to Tornadus, right? The only downside is that the Rain isn't up anymore. So then it could still potentially be losable if they KO Thunderous with the Incineroar in that slot. But now we can just go for Icy Wind and Electro. Actually, what is the objectively correct play here to make? We have Tsareena in the back, actually, so it literally doesn't matter. I was just thinking, like, normally you want to rely on attacks that can't miss. And obviously in this position, like, the game's basically over. But whenever you have an endgame basically locked up, you just want to ask yourself, how do I, like, 100% secure it? And so it's like, let's say we didn't have Tsareena in the back, then it's probably better to click Sludge Bomb in that position. Is it though? No. What is the right play there? Sludge, because like, you can miss either attack from Tornadus. I think it might be better just to Electro Web, because it's like, Sludge Bomb itself isn't KOing, or Sludge Bomb Hurricane maybe, because then if Hurricane hits, you just straight up win. If Hurricane misses, you still have 2 chances to hit Hurricane. But then Electro Up can just straight up win the game immediately. I mean, yeah, there's no reason to dive into all of this because we had Tsareena in the back. But I was just trying to think, like, create an alternate scenario where Tsareena, like, had fainted. So, yeah, it's been a really fast couple of games, so we'll play a couple more. Okay, getting into the next one, and this is actually the Kyurem-White team that I was talking about. Wow. I was just saying how Ninetales is kind of underused, and there was a Kyurem-White team with Ninetales that I planned on featuring, and this is it. If I remember correctly, it has some pretty wild sets like Quick Claw Ferrothorn, Choice Scarf Regieleki. So yeah, this should be an interesting one. What do I want here? Urshifu for close combat's generally really good. Kyogre has to worry about the Ferrothorn. It's Choice Scarf with Zap Cannon and Electro Ball. So that is going to be a very big issue to Kyogre because even with Tailwind, it'll still outspeed us. And so yeah, I mean, I would think Ferrothorn, Aleki, Kyurem-Ninetales are the 4 Pokemon my opponent goes with. What would I lead if I were them? Aleki Kyurem is pretty interesting. That's a very scary lead, actually. Like, I feel like Kyurem actually does very nicely into us. Okay. So I'm thinking we go with Tornadus Urshifu, Kyogre. Or Thunderous? Wait, I feel like Thunderous only walls Aleki. That's basically it. Huh. Okay, I'm actually gonna go with Incineroar here. The tough thing about Thundurus is that, like, I want to bring it because it's a switch it into a Lecky. But, like, it's just so bad against everything else because it just does no damage. And I wouldn't say everything else, I guess. But, like, Kyurem, right? Like, it's just going to completely demolish it. And we basically don't do very much damage to it in return. That's, like, the main problem here. So they're going to lead with Lecky and Kyurem. Okay, cool. That's actually kind of what I was expecting here. Meaning, turn 1, the play I lean towards is just Tailwind Close Combat. Tailwind. I guess there's a chance they switch Lecky out into the Kyogre, or sorry, into Ninetales right now. Like, we're relatively weak to Ice, actually. Incin and Kyogre are the two resists, but the rest of the team covers for it really well here. I could see them Volt Switching. You could Volt Switch into this and then go into Ninetales. This is Admin Urshifu. I'm actually going to Tailwind Close Combat Kyurem here, I think. But it's Kyurem switching out. Oh, oh, that is interesting. This is like, I was going to say okay, but the problem is once again still dealing with the Choice Scarf. Okay, they actually just go for Electro Web. That's okay, I think. That could have played out worse, but also if I just had gone for the initial Wicked Blow onto a Lecky, that would have been really, really sweet for us. Because we would have just been able to pick up a knockout onto it. I don't mind eliminating Ferrothorn just because that walls Kyogre really hard, but at the same time I did bring Incineroar to deal with it, so it's not really a knockout we necessarily needed to pick up on turn 1. And that was a smart play by my opponent. What do I do now? That was a very good switch. Yeah, I think like they very easily also could have just gone Volt Switch and then Blizzard, so I felt like I needed to respect that option. Volt Switch Blizzard's very scary there. Okay, so they bring out the Kyurem. You know where Thundurus would have helped? It would have been for an Electro Web, basically. Yeah, because now we're in a pretty interesting position. I think I'm going to go for an Icy Wind, although I assume I faint here, and then switch out into Incineroar. At least that offers me Fake Out the subsequent turn. But yeah, like the reason I'm playing this way is because I've just seen the team and I know it's Choice Scarf for Lecky, but even knowing that, this is still a really, like, strange game to play just because of the fact that outspeeds Kyogre. And that's a really cool answer against Kyogre, right? So they're just going to go for another Electro Web. Okay, it does get the knockout on Tornadus. I wonder if we could have survived if they didn't crit the Electro Web earlier, but nah, it's fine. It's not like a... Oh, actually, an Icy Wind there would be game-changing if we were able to get it off, but it's okay. They're going to Free Strike here. Just to take a decent amount of damage on both on the switch in. If I go Kyogre... Man, how do I play around the Scarf-Lecky? Like, the play could be to go into Kyogre and hope that they don't know that I know they're Scarfed. If I go into Urshifu, I could Fake Out Wicked Blow. But they can just switch out. So yeah, I'm gonna go into Kyogre here. This is, like, I'm, really impressed by how much pressure this Scarf-Lecky is, like, has. And it's because Kyurem and Ninetales cover for it really nicely, right? Like, things that Lecky doesn't like going up against Ground-type Pokemon, Grass-type Pokemon. Well, Kyurem and Ninetales are both perfect against those. So it's like, throughout today, like, Tsareena and Thundurus-T have been pretty valuable for us, but in this game, like, it just feels pretty hard to bring either. So yeah, I am going to click Fake Out here into a Lecky and Water Spout. I mean, they probably switch a Lecky out here, right? But if they do I even have a path to victory? Nicely done. It would have been Fake Out Kyurem Water Spout. But even if we go for that, I guess the main thing is like picking up 2 knockouts so that the Lecky is in a pretty compromising endgame scenario, and they don't protect Kyurem either. So yeah, that was perfectly played on their end. That should win in the game then, in my opinion, but let's see. Had I clicked Fake Out onto Kyurem and Water Spout there, we'd actually probably be in pretty good shape. But then they still have the Scarfaleki in the back, right? Okay, they go for Earth Power. That knocks us out. You take Life Orb. Now the end game is Kyogre plus damaged Urshifu with no more Focus Sash. Okay. I guess they probably felt forced to switch out Aleki, but I was thinking there... If I fake out Kyurem and Water Spout... Yeah, I guess the main thing is that Aleki can't KO us with Electro Web, right? So we have one more turn of Tailwind. Okay, I think the play... Because we still actually outspeed this, right? So then it's a question of whether or not Aleki one-shots Kyogre, because my play here, I think, is to just Scald into the Aleki and then Protect here. The issue is that I don't know if the Kyurem's max speed. If so, then it actually might outspeed Urshifu, right? So the hope here is that Kyogre survives an attack from the Regieleki. Oh, they protect Kyurem. That's perfect. What does Aleki go for? And they Volt Switch into Urshifu. Okay, perfect. Nice. Yeah, I figured there that Aleki didn't have a way to one-shot the Kyogre. They do, actually. The answer is Zap Cannon, but it's... Wait, are they focused? Oh, no, they actually literally just went with 1 HP. I was like, it would be funny if they were Sash this whole time, because I was, like, confident they were Choice Scarf there. I think that should win us the game, then, because now, at this point, even if Kyurem outspeeds, I can just Sucker Punch and Scald here. Actually, is Scald better because of the burn chance? If we get the burn out right, we would win, but then if I'm Ice Beaming would just pick up the KO in itself, so I think it's just Sucker Punch Ice Beam here. You can't take two Sucker Punches plus Life Orb, or Sucker Punch Life Orb Ice Beam here. Yeah, Sucker Punch itself almost KOs, and they just Blizzard. Perfect. Alright, that was really scary. But the key thing here in the end was that they targeted Incineroar that turn with the Earth Power rather than the Kyogre slot. I think if Kyogre gets targeted there, we probably lose the game. Like if they had just clicked Freeze Dry there. But my Incin wasn't really a major threat to them at that point in the game. But yeah, that team is really, really cool. So that's definitely one of the teams we'll be featuring on Road to Rank relatively soon. So keep your eyes open for it. But ultimately, yeah, Kyogre just still put in a lot of work, and we just have to conserve our best tools. But and we had the information advantage, right? Knowing that the Aleki was Choice Scarfed, and having seen the team before definitely helps a little bit. But yeah, that team will be featured on Road to Rank soon, so stay tuned. But let's look for one final game. Final one of the day. We have definitely had a very, very nice win streak today. Generally, decent matchups, but that's one of the reasons I wanted to feature this team. This is just a really, really darn good and consistent team. Like, if you're able to finish number 2 on the ranked ladder at the end of the season, like, you're using something that is going to be really darn powerful, and this is one of them. So, yeah, both this and the Groudon team we featured recently, definitely 2 of the top Series 10 teams I'd recommend at the moment. This matchup's really interesting because they have a Gastrodon, okay, as well as Solgaleo. So against Solgaleo, we will definitely want Urshifu. Kyogre's still valuable. You also have to respect Wide Guard from Solgaleo, right? Tsareena's interesting. Can I do anything with Thundurus here? It's subpar. I'm leaning Tornadus, Urshifu, Kyogre. I just don't love Incineroar here. But maybe I still need to bring it because of Solgaleo. It's just, don't really get that much value into it. And if I go with this, I'm really weak to Gastrodon right now. I honestly think if I'm my opponent, I probably don't even bring the Gastrodon. But the thing is, I have to respect it enough. And like, Kyogre it gets walled by it pretty hard, right? And the thing is, if they don't bring Gastrodon and we find that out, then we're just free to spam Water Spout at no consequence, basically. So, we'll see. What's the general goal here, though? It is to eliminate Gastrodon early and identify if Solgaleo has Wide Guard. Both of those are very critical pieces of information because if you don't have Wide Guard and Gastrodon is no longer around, Water Spout is just super free to spam. They're going to go Whimsicott plus Zapdos. Okay. I don't love that. But I guess I don't... Like, the thing here is that Tornadus isn't max speed. So, normally what I could do turn 1 if we were max speed is just Icy Wind into Wicked Blow, but I can't. I've got Tsareena as a switch-in, and the Wakam Berry on Tornadus. So turn 1, I'm honestly leaning towards an Icy Wind here. And to switch out into Tsareena. And the reason I want to go for that is because then the subsequent turn I can Tailwind into Triple Axle. Best case here is they Tailwind. Oh. I mean, that actually works as well. I was nervous about Taunt onto my Tornadus, not this turn, but the subsequent turn. Also, turns out we are faster than Zapdos, so their Zapdos is definitely not max speed. Okay. So that's good to know. And they go for T-Balled into the Wakan Tornadus. Okay, that's not a bad trade-off turn 1 in my opinion. Because now I can just go for Tailwind. I don't love the paralysis that it happens. Okay. Yeah, I am down to just click Tailwind here and Triple Axle. Also, I realized that I don't need to worry about Encore Taunt from Whimsicott when I had Tsareena as a switch in, but I'm just going to Tailwind Triple Axle Zapdos here. Okay, Zapdos doesn't protect, so if we don't get fully parried here and we hit the Triple Axles, it's super good. The odds of that are not amazing though, right? Because it's like a 3/4 chance to attack through Para and then like just over 70% to hit all 3 Triple Axles. That was a crit. Are they Rocky Helmet? Okay, no helmet, 2 hits. Oh, Tsareena, you've been so good to us today. Like, you're bound to miss with Triple Axle a couple times, but it has been very, very clutch for us throughout this episode, so I'm very happy about his performance so far. Okay, nice. So, we just eliminated what's one of the larger threats to Zapdos. Solgaleo doesn't come out. This means you either didn't bring Solgaleo or Gastrodon. Both of those would be pretty interesting decisions here. I'm gonna Taunt into Volcarona and just Protect here, I think, on Tsareena. If you knock out Tornadus, you give me a free switch into Kyogre. And Kyogre's looking mighty fine right now. The one question I was, like, thinking about is whether or not the Whimsicott maybe has Sunny Day. It, like, makes slight sense with Volcarona on the team, but I don't know. It's just a tough move to fit on your moveset. We've already seen Protect, Tailwind, you know, Moonblast. Those are the standard 3, and you can typically fit one of, like, Taunt, Encore, Sunny Day. They actually have it! Wow. Glad to be proven right there, though. Okay, cool. Interesting. Well, now I wasted the Taunt on Volcarona because it's probably not Quiver Dancing. I'm guessing you're Heat Waving here. Or Fiery Dance. Nice play, and they actually target around me as well, so perfectly executed. The thing is, though, I still think it's fine. Sunny Day actually changes a lot here, though. Especially because they did end up getting a special attack boost. Now, we should assume our opponent's last one is... If I should have taunted Whimsicott, but I was nervous about Volcarona Quiver Dancing in that position. And, like, Sunny Day isn't that common, but that is going to be a huge issue for us here. I'm going to guess, yeah, I mean, there's no way they didn't bring Solgaleo, right? So, how fast is your Volt? Because if you're max speed, you will also just outspeed me here. Still going to go Water Spout and just Axle here, I think. But that was a perfect last turn for them. And them having Sunny Day changes a lot. But that's a really cool answer into Kyogre, right? Like, manual Sunny Day. Not that many Pokemon will run it. Whimsicott, one of the best users for it because, of course, it has Prankster. So you've got that priority. Yeah, if I taunted Whimsicott last turn, they'd be in a really tough position. But the issue here is that, like, yeah, I have Tailwind, but so do they, right? So we just matched Tailwinds here. Oh, but we're faster with Kyogre. Oh, okay. Doesn't KO Volcarona. Does Tsareena outspeed Volk here as well? Let's see. It does. That's absolutely huge. And Tsareena does not want to miss today and hits every Triple Axle. Okay, that is a very, very big deal. Cool. They Fiery Dance Tsareena. That's perfect. I was nervous about a potential Giga Drain into the Oh, they Fiery Dance, but it's into Kyogre. What does that mean? It likely indicates that you don't have Giga Drain or Bug Buzz? But to not have either would be... They didn't bring Solgaleo. Wow. That is a bold call. And the fact that we're faster with both here is such a big deal. I'm pretty sure Water Spout should KO from that range. So, like, I'm down to just Water Spout here and Grassy Glide into Gastrodon. Because I could see Volk protecting. I don't really care about Gastrodon getting a special attack boost if I can just knock it out, right? Maybe it's Rindo Berry. But it's still fine unless we actually, like, the Rindo, Gastro, and Volcarona survives this Water Spout. But yeah, you can see, like, the Incense just goes such a long way because even when the sun is up, we still deal so much damage with this Pokemon. And they weren't Rindo. Wow. Yeah, so we just get a one-shot. This is what I was saying, though, right? Like, let's say they bring Gastrodon and I don't have this Tsareena. It's actually 10 times more difficult to deal with it. Whereas Tsareena is just the, has the ability to get a one-hit KO onto it. So that's why I felt compelled to bring it. Dropping Solgaleo is a really interesting decision there, because it's one in which I was still fairly scared of. No, we can check their team, too. So let's see. It's AV Zapdos. Oh, wow. Yeah, so, and like them being really slow and everything also really benefited us. I was pretty worried about that. So it's Life Orb Solgaleo. This makes sense as to why they dropped it, right? Like the offense just isn't that good here. But the thing is that this still completely walls my Solgaleo. Or sorry, the Solgaleo completely walls my Tsareena, which was what I was primarily nervous about. So that's interesting. Goggles, Volcarona, 124, Fiery Dance. Oh yeah, they actually just didn't even have any other offense here. And, like, that's kind of the problem when you end up bringing Volk, right? Because probably the scariest offense on their team was Urshifu plus Solgaleo, but neither of those actually came out. Volk is obviously very defensively oriented on this team. Just has the Fiery Dance. Gastro here was Expert Belt. Okay, makes sense. Under Trick Room, you do so much damage. And then, yeah, it was actually Sunny Day here, so glad to see my fear about it actually proven right. And then AV Zapdos. But as you can see, 121, 126 speed, 124 speed. So, yeah, definitely not max. And Kyogre was actually able to outspeed any. But that's the other thing, right? In this matchup, things aren't as scary because we have Water Spout. And Water Spout means that we can ignore the Gastrodon and freely target it. So, even though my opponent brought Gastrodon, it doesn't protect the Volcarona necessarily. So, yeah. That was a really fun set of games. I mean, we went on a really, really nice win streak here. And once again, this team is just absolutely incredible. Like, I'm not surprised, right? So, I think that nearly got us into, like, the top, just under the top 100-ish or so. So, shoutouts to the original creator. Once again, if you were looking for a really good team to climb the ladder with, this really is it. The main things to watch out for, I'm trying to think about the games in which I lost while playing with this team in practice. I had a mirror match where, the mirror match is scary, right? Because it somewhat comes down to speed types. It's pretty hard to win the mirror without relying on a speed type or two. It's just because you're both probably going to bring Kyogre, Tornadus, Thunderstone potentially. So that one is scary. And in the mirror, you just don't bring Incineroar. And then there was another game I played for a warm-up game today, and my opponent had, it was Cresselia Tapu Fini lead, and that was pretty scary, because it was like the threat of Trick Room with Mentor, while also Fini in general can just be pretty oppressive, because it has the access to Calm Mind. So with Fini, you have to be a little, Fini itself isn't scary, it's Fini plus partners, so it's not really a really good answer, but yeah. This team certainly isn't, perfect, no team is, but I think, like, today I've been really impressed by how well, like, Tsareena kind of fit into the equation, since we didn't get to use it nearly as much yesterday. And games go by fast with this team, as you can see, as you can often win the game in a turn or two, just because of how good Kyogre is. All it takes is one big Water Spout turn, and that's really all you need. So, yeah, thanks so much, as always, for watching. Thank you to you all. If you enjoyed, please show support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks to Entei for sponsoring today's video, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.